of our wonderful mentors, Jazz. So Jazz is going to come up and tell you a bit about what she does. I hope you've had some productive conversations in your groups. If you want to know anything more about mentoring, I'll be around afterwards for a while, so just come and grab me. I'll put the sign up information back up once Jazz's presentation is finished. So thank you very much everyone, and here's Jazz.
Hi everybody. So I was invited here today and it's been a very, very humbling experience. Although it's been very stressful getting here from Dudley, it's been alright. So I was asked to tell you a little bit about myself, about what I do, why I chose mentoring, and a little bit about self-confidence as well. So that's what I'll be covering. Oh, I'll be told to speak a bit louder. Can everybody in the back hear me? So, I was born in 1995 in a place called Southall in London, Ealing. In 2005 I had a burn trauma, and how this happened was I was in the back garden. It was my brother's 16th birthday, I think it was, and we had a barbecue. This barbecue then, the gel that you put on the barbecue itself, it blew up into flames, and I was probably where the young man in the yellow sitting. That's how far I was from the barbecue, and that barbecue then blew up and it actually burnt the whole entire of my face. When I got to the hospital, the doctor was just like seconds away from you actually being partially blind. So that's one of the key moments of my life. So that's probably why I went into trauma coaching, to be honest with you. I started my studies in 2007 in the Punjab. I was from year 7 to about year 9. I was in a boarding school. And then in 2014, I started my studies at Staffs. So I did psychology and counselling. And then I did my postgraduate in clinical psychology. And in 2018, it might sound a bit, coincide, but when I did start my master's, I did have a suicidal attempt. And that was me and my mental health dipping very, very low. And then I had to build myself back up. I had to get myself to a point of loving life again. And that's why I started my purpose-filled journey with a mindful message. A mindful message is the company that I built to aim to bridge the gap between the cultural and the language barriers within the UK. So as you can imagine, the refugees and the asylum seekers within the UK and international students at the universities may have language barriers and cultural barriers and unable to resonate with the wellbeing staff or mentors, coaches, counsellors, psychotherapists that want to help them. But they can't speak English as their main language, and that's the reason why I wanted to start a mindful message. We have now currently recruited 85 counsellors that speak over 25 different languages, and it's a very humbling experience for me. 2023, this is me in Cancun. Yeah, that's from me now. So the key moments in my life so far is in February, I babysat in California. Yes, I was flown out by my auntie to babysit this little one over here. I spent 10 days there, and amazingly, I had 2 breakthrough moments with my company. So one, I started small business coaching with a company out there in America and working with 2 CEOs. And then my maternal instinct started to kick in as well, so that's probably because of the baby fever, to be honest with you. And that's when I started to work on emotional intelligence with my clients. Then in April, my recruitment started for an AMM, a mindful message. I started off, I think it was 2 days, and then all of a sudden it was like 50 applicants. So I was very, very humbled with all that experience. I've learned HR, admin, all the boring stuff, which honestly is really tested my patience. I've learned processes and legal sides and trademarking, IPOs, etc. to build the company of what it is today. And then in October, I was humbled with a speech. I had to do a speech, I didn't have to, but I chose to, on stage in front of 600 people for my best friend's wedding. It was my first speech. I designed my outfit, and it brought me a lot of happiness and gratitude, so I thought I'd share that with you guys today. So self-care for me involves prayer, gym, meal prep, skincare, family, friends. Every morning I'm probably watching a motivational video, learning, building myself back up every morning. Affirmations, so I just done a staff wellbeing event in Dudley, and I started to talk a lot about affirmations then, of having to renew your mind, renewing those negative thought processes. Walks, meditation, so I did a 2-week course with Mindspace to become a mindfulness-based practitioner. And another thing self-care is making money for me. I do enjoy making it. 2 books one book to be honest with you that changed my life is You Are You by Eric Thomas, and in there you've got journal prompts on the side of it that really builds you back up. So my inspirations, what builds my confidence every 24 hours is my family. They're constantly motivating me to push myself to do better. My purpose, so being able to bridge the gap between language and culture in the mental health field. And you guys as students, you guys as staff here at Staffordshire University, because it brings me joy. It actually brings me joy to mentor, to be able to be a part of your journey. So some of my personal core values. So integrity, being strong enough to, do what is right, whatever behind closed doors when no one else is watching. Freedom to have the choice of how to live my life, especially financial freedom, being able to spend time with family and friends. And authenticity, so being your real self. I think we're fully embroiled in social media, filters, TikTok doom scrolling, and sometimes it's very, very difficult to be your authentic self, and that's what is one of my core values. My kind of quote to each and every student, and even the staff out there, your faith must be stronger than your fear. Otherwise you'll never see the real version of yourself. And the reason why I mean that so deeply is because we can go through life, we can go through moments we have to push past. We have to realize that, it's scary. It's scary to be out there. It's scary to do whatever you want to do. It's scary to get outside of your comfort zone, but that's where your growth stands, standing outside of it. So me standing on stage today is a very big thing for me, to step outside my comfort zone, and you guys have made it very, very easy for me, I'm not going to lie. And what mentoring for me meant is to support each and every one of the students, and even my own private clientele, to reach their goals, seeing their breakthrough journey. So I've got Lynette in front of me, who was my mentee for a year, and seeing her, literally her business grow and herself grow, her confidence grow. And I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, but she shared a lot with me throughout a whole divorce, and being able to build that relationship with her, knowing her daughter and all of these different things, that grew for me, and that relationship really meant a lot for me. So that's why I really enjoyed mentoring as well. Do you have any questions for me? Give me one at least, make my job easier. Thank you.
Hi, when did you know it was time for you to step up and start your own business? I know I've had a story, but what really
Triggered me?
triggered?
So Lynette's question, for anybody in the back didn't hear, is what triggered me to start my own business? I would say at 15, I automatically knew that I wasn't meant to kind of stay in a career path where I couldn't grow. When I did private healthcare, when I did public healthcare, COVID was my big moment where I was just like, no, this isn't fulfilling for me. This isn't something that I feel as if I'm being wasted if I'm kind of kept in a little bit of a box. And then when I started, I would say, doing my own personal development, when I started to grow a little bit more outside my comfort, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. I've got to do this. And it was of a drive. And I think every single morning when I'm waking up and I know that exactly what I'm doing, it brings me joy. So that was my biggest motivator for sure, and that was my biggest trigger. I think when I'm seeing kind of my family as well, I would say, like my mum always said to me, like, make sure you do the best, bring your own capability, be the best version of yourself. And honestly, if it wasn't for me tapping in, finding what my purpose was, without the attachment of people, the worldly events, for example, that really pushed me. So that was my why, that was my big trigger.
Do you have a mentor, or do you have people in your life that you consider mentors?
So that's a really good question. So I had a business mentor. I had two business mentors actually. So I had a business coach, and that was during, funnily enough, so my business coach journey started last year, October. I had 6 sessions with her, and my first session was when the day after my grandma passed away. So my grandma was living with us for 30 years, and she passed away, and the day after it was my first session, and that was my break. That was my point. I was like, I can either do this coaching session with everybody downstairs mourning my grandma, or I can go downstairs and just feel sorry for myself. But in that first breakthrough session, the why I attended is because she brought things back to purpose for me. She brought me into a guided meditation. She was just like, okay, this has happened to you now. What are your drives? What are your motivators? And that for me really, really did push me in the right direction to like put everything out on branding, marketing, making sure I had that business model there. And then my second business mentor was a lovely chap named Juan. He was a part of a company called, one day. And within that company, he decided to push me into the languages sector. He was just like, this is a really groundbreaking thing. He guided me for around 6 months as well. So I don't think if it wasn't for those two people, I wouldn't have streamlined into the company where it was today. So I needed that mentoringship. During, for example, COVID, just before COVID as well, I really started to watch a lot of motivational videos. So a lot of people in my life were like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, who the book that you just saw, and these are the people that I filled every day with. So I was waking up and I was making sure I was listening to these positive things first thing in the morning in order to streamline of what I wanted to do and my thought processes of building the life that I wanted to live. Hi.
Yeah, thank you for your valuable time and sharing your experience with us. Really pleased to have you today.
Thank you.
Welcome. Do you have any soul motivator or icon in your for your success history? And do you follow any kind of particular ideology that you feel that you are in such certain position, and after a time you want to be in that kind of particular attacks that will lead as a change or part to a particular change of the world or like humankind?
Okay, so that was 2 questions. And the first one was my biggest person. If there's one person in this kind of world that I would say pushes me every day, definitely my mum. If she is not telling me to grind or work, then there's nothing going on. She's literally making sure that every moment that I'm pushing myself to be the best version of me. And that's coming from a woman that literally worked 2 jobs while she had 2 kids. Husband was in prison, for example, and this is the same woman that says to me every morning, come on, so what are you doing? Every single time I'm like, yeah, I let that job go, I left it. She was just like struggling. She was like, what do you mean? What is this entrepreneur life? You need a 9 to 5. And for me, it was proving to her that actually there is a life outside 9 to 5. There is something that I really, really enjoy, and there's something that I can see building. I'm a very strong believer in God. I'm a strong believer in my purpose. So I'm always fitted in, making sure that I'm here for a reason. And I think that my ideology, for example, of what you said, is for me to put on.
Any particular ideology that helped you to reach the effects of success and this kind of particular position, or in the future?
I wouldn't say it's a particular ideology. I would say that I have a mantra, and my own mantra is, it is what it is. I don't take things personally. I make sure that I am my biggest competition. So every time I'm looking in the mirror, I know I've got to be better than I was yesterday. So I would say, yeah, I don't have a particular ideology, but that's my biggest mantra and that's my biggest focus. Anybody else? Hi.
Hi, I just wondered what your goals for the future are.
Okay, so my 5-year plan for the business itself is to make sure that we're a part of the NHS's 5-year forward plan. So I was a part of a psychological professional network a few weeks ago, and the person who put together the NHS's 5-year plan, I asked them, is there anything available to overcome the barriers of the culture and the language within the mental health and the wellbeing field? They couldn't answer me. So there was cultural competencies that weren't there, and that's where I wanted to fit a mindful messaging, to be able to have those cultural competencies in place, be able to build relationships with people that English wasn't their first language. Another part of my goal, I would say, personally, traveling. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to go to places, build orphanages, do that charity work, because I just feel as if England's very limited. No offense to the UK at the moment, but it's a small place. You know, if you want to grow, if you want to be able to reach new people, if you want to be able to learn more about yourself, you've got to put yourself into difficult situations. You've got to put yourself in situations where, you know, you are a small fish in a big pond, basically. And I think that came from me studying India for 2 years. I was very much, I would say, independent in that way. So yeah, that's two of my goals, one business related and one personally related. Anybody else? Don't be shy. I'm the one on the stage. No? Beautiful. I want to thank you guys for having me today. If you guys want to give me a follow, so we've got a mindful message there, I've got my trauma coach page there, and my LinkedIn. If you guys want to network, have some advice, maybe just reach out, and any guidance, I am definitely here. So thank you so much for being a part of Staff's Uni, being a part of the mentoring program. Thank you, Laura, Sam, Lucy, for having me.